When watching the Thunder through these first 3 playoff games, it's easy to forget that they're one of the youngest teams in NBA history. Especially breaking the mold of an inexperienced player is Chet Holmgren, whose unique tools on both ends of the floor have him completely changing the dynamic of these matchups. The first thing you have to talk about with Chet is the job he's done as a rim protector. He's averaging just under 4 blocks a game, nearly twice as many as second place, and they're coming in a wide variety of ways. This time it's in transition, where he's matching the strides of Herb Jones, and pay attention to how fluid he is, slowing down, turning his hips, and perfectly timing up a contest. Here's one from the closing minutes of game 2 where he gets attacked one-on-one and he absorbs a shoulder bump to hold position, and from there it's all about length, timing, and targeting the ball with precision. Because he's such a big presence at the rim, OKC's comfortable being aggressive on the perimeter. Whether that's a hard closeout or more pressure, running shooters off the line just leads them into a trap. And I think Pelicans players have tried to put him on at least 4 or 5 posters. If my math is right, none of them have converted. It isn't just the shot blocking either. He knows exactly when to go vertical or when not to attack the ball, like on this one where he jumps backwards while staying tall and actually draws an offensive foul. This level of IQ from a 21-year-old shot blocker is almost unheard of. Despite contesting shot after shot around the basket, you'll basically never see him in foul trouble, and even when he doesn't get a hand on the ball, best believe he's altering the finish. Through these games, he's contested 33 shots within 6 feet of the basket, and on those attempts, players have shot more than 12% below their typical average, which is actually right on par with what he did in the regular season, 11.5% on over 600 shots. As a result, you'll see a lot of these ball handlers make a business decision. McCollum sees Chet and immediately picks up his dribble, and the big man is fluid enough to get back in front of his man for a contest. This right here is exactly what makes him such an effective defender in drop coverage. Ingram turns the corner, and Chet's positioning is as good as it gets, not giving up a drive, getting a hand up to make him think twice about a jumper, and that allows J-Dub to get back into play. Just as a reference, here's what it looked like when Ingram instead tried to attack that drop. He creates some space only to get a layup wiped off the glass. What's unique about Chet in these spots though is the fluidity I earlier talked about. So when needed, he can bring these coverages closer to the level of the screen, play the ball, before recovering to the roll man for a block. Here's another one just like that in the final minute of a tie game. He forces a pass to the roller, recovers to take away a cutter on the baseline before turning back to the ball for a big time rejection. When it all comes together, he's a one-man defense in that paint. First, he deters a drive and resets the offense. Then when CJ goes to work in isolation, he hangs around the block as a roamer, where he does his best impression of a professional volleyball player. With all of that said, he does have limitations for the time being. One issue their defense has run into is closing possessions on the glass. He isn't a great rebounder, and those Pelicans bigs haven't had much trouble at all creating second chance opportunities, which could prove to be a challenge against a better offensive opponent. Also, the trade-off of such fluidity at his size is a less physical frame, which Valanciunas has taken advantage of in the low post. Again, this isn't a problem in a series that they're dominating, but I do slightly worry how he'd hold up in a potential matchup against the Nuggets or Wolves. I will say that his length and timing help negate some of these issues, so even when he gets bullied, it's tough to get the ball up over him. But actually, I think the main counter to these bruising bigs comes on the other side of the ball, where his unique skill set can oftentimes turn them into liabilities. Of course, his big draw on offense is his ability to score from outside, and I won't say he's some elite shooter, but he's definitely one of the best at his position, and that really opens up the floor for the guys around him. It's subtle, but when Shea isolates from up top, Jonas has to worry about potentially closing out to Chet, meaning he's late to help at the nail, and that's an automatic paint touch. They can go 5 out whenever they want, and as soon as Shea draws 2 to the ball, he's kicking it out to the big fella for a wide open jumper. OKC does everything in their power to make slow-footed bigs unplayable. In early offense, they'll often set these flare screens to get him open, and even if a wing jumps out, he's too tall to get a proper contest. Here's another one that starts with the same action, only this time instead of pulling the trigger, he waits before attacking open space on a drive, but not to get to the rim, rather to turn around for a mid-range jumper. These are the plays that get him compared to a jumbo-sized wing, the ability to not only shoot, but attack off the catch with a fluid enough handle and skill set to score in a variety of ways, and it really feels like he can do quite literally anything the team asks him to. On this one, he spotted up in the corner, and when they get a 4-on-3 advantage, he knows to cut baseline where there's nobody who can stop him at the rim. Every now and then, he'll play multiple positions at once, pushing the ball down court and kicking it out like a guard, only to hang around the dunker spot and get it back on a dump-off pass like a traditional 5. But he's not a traditional 5. Whenever he's used as a screener, he's looking for the pop, which creates all sorts of issues for the defense. Say they want to switch these actions to not leave him open. All that does is create a mismatch for his wing to attack, and from there they'll run that 5-out isolation game to create a quality look. One thing the Pelicans have tried doing is sending 2 to the ball, having the weak side defender come up early to not let Chet get a 3, and from there scrambling to cover all the bases. Only one problem, now you're left with CJ McCollum defending Shea. To say the least, that isn't the ideal matchup. It's also worth noting that just because he wants to pop, doesn't mean he has to. He's shown great instincts for slipping the screen to get downhill, where he just so happens to be a 7-footer with soft touch. Look, I'm not saying he's an offensive superstar. He obviously has his limitations when it comes to creating with the ball as both a scorer and passer, and the shooting can be a bit streaky at times, both in terms of volume and efficiency. But he brings a lot of quality traits to the table, which are especially tough to deal with as a playoff matchup. OKC has built a system that only functions with a big who can do the things he does, and it's unlocked the potential of both Shea and J-Dub as creators. You pair that with what I would already consider a superstar, all defensive caliber impact on the other end, now we're talking serious impact. We'll have to wait and see how this translates to a more serious playoff opponent, whether that's the Clippers or the Mavs in round 2, but I'm all the way in on this kid. He's 21 years old, protecting the rim like a defensive player of the year, and elevating one of the league's best offensive teams as a true basketball unicorn. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn my post notifications on to be first on more content. If you're interested in my more in-depth research, make sure to check out my website and social media profiles. You can find those links in the description. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you think of Chet. As always, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.